Internet. What's up, Internet? What's going on? Happy Wednesday to everybody out there. It's the 22nd of March, 2017. And we're continuing on with the Fish Room project. It's ongoing and progressing very well. A lot of work going down to get this rolling, but it is very worth it. We had this old house. We got this old house and this old shop, and we really need to make some improvements to the building, because we were initially going to put all the aquariums in the basement, and realistically that was we were going to have to run water and plumbing and do a bunch of stuff in order to get that set up. So we ended up making the decision to move everything out into the shop, and so we're framing out a room. We're removing the old shiplap that is in here, occupying this space, and then we're going to rerun electrical and some fill water out here to the shop, because the basement, eventually we will be moving the laundry into the basement, which realistically will end up being an improvement to the house. So we'll end up improving the house, we'll improve the shop, and it will be basically the same amount of work, because this work needed to be done to the shop. There was literally one non-grounded outlet running to the shop. One outlet. And two little light bulb fixtures, all running off of some miscellaneous electrical that was running around the building. Let's just say that. The lights in the basement and one of the lights in the bathroom and one other light in the house were running off the same electrical junction or whatever, the electrical line. We're all routing to run all of that stuff, which means that if I'm running a chop saw or anything like that out in the shop, I just don't have sufficient power to do what needs to be done without popping the breaker. It was just a 15 amp breaker and I think about an 18 gauge wire that is hanging overhead, that used to be split by the knob and tube, and they decided that was just going to be sufficient for the last 93 years. I don't understand how they got through so many years of running a shop with just one outlet. When I got here initially, there were a ton of power strips all daisy chained off of this one outlet, which gives me the inclination that it wasn't sufficient for the shop, but they just said, screw it, whatever, it'll be fine. But for the safety of ourselves, human-wise, to not be electrocuted or burned, and along with the operating of the aquariums and all the water pumps and all that kind of stuff that will be out here, it was best to just upgrade the electrical. So right now I'm going through that. Of course, this video I'm basically just stripping down the shiplap. I have other videos coming up. Like I said, we are getting back on track with production and uploading videos, so that's fantastic, because I got a ton of projects now, and it's not just me. Sorry, not just me, not just Vicky and myself, just talking to bankers and whatnot, because those don't make for very good videos, and they don't even want you to record them anyhow. So with the house purchasing process that we occupied a lot of our time, I haven't been making a lot of videos, but like I said, we're going to be getting back on track, and have encountered a couple of issues with this building that are that have kind of not necessarily delayed, but they've kind of slowed down the progress of what we're doing. This wall that I'm tearing down here, and as you can see, everything around the building is, the studs are 24 inches on center, and then they had what's called a floating slab underneath. So the main slab for the floor is the floor that you can see me standing on, and then the floating portion is, just to the side of that, and it hangs down 2 inches or 3 or 4 inches, and that's where the base of the studs are that are holding the wall up. Now, why that's an issue is because that floating slab that holds up those studs probably worked really well back in the day. It doesn't work well now, and we've encountered a little bit of dry rot and stuff. But I trenched that all out yesterday and put in new blocking for the footers that are going to go outside, and so you guys will have the pleasure of getting to see me mix some concrete here fairly soon and pour a couple of footers to hold this wall up. The rest of the building had been sort of accidentally repaired as far as the foundation and whatnot was done. Cement had been poured around to butt up against the building, so that has been sealed up pretty well, but right here, all in all, has been a bit of an issue, but we got most of that done. Water and power are going to be coming into the wall that I'm working on right now in the video. Going to be coming in from this side and then route through. I'm running two 12 gauge lines so I can have two separate areas of power within the building here. One will be for shop tools and all that kind of stuff, and then everything else will be running off of the other loop coming out for all the fish tanks and that kind of stuff. But we'll be getting into some electrical videos and whatnot fairly soon. I've hand dug a 60-foot trench coming from this building to the house, and I'll be knocking in and throwing the all the conduit and pulling the wire and all that stuff today, and then laying the water supply line in a trench next to it, and getting all that stuff wrapped up, and that will be good. And then once I'll be getting back in to work on this wall, I need to add some framing and a bunch of joists and whatnot. I know in the previous video we were talking about it, that we didn't have enough support for this building for the roof and everything, and so that's kind of what spurred this this project to go this direction, because we were going to need to do some work on the roof in the shop anyhow. It was lacking what we needed. You can see in this video here that wall's still up, but it was me just kind of walking around looking at I mounted the bottom plates, which is all pressure treated, which is what the stud walls are going to go attach to and head upwards, and then the joists are going to run across, and then we're going to shore up basically the roof of the building and make a big storage area for up top for like lumber and all that kind of stuff, which will ultimately leave us about almost 20 feet of storage up there lengthwise, and then probably about 14 feet widthwise up there for storage. So for all that lumber and crap that I have, that has a tendency to has a tendency to add up, like my welder and stuff like that can all go up in the loft area, because I don't do that much welding realistically, and certain things like that can just go up in that loft and just be up out of the way. But it'll be pretty good. Honestly, I think I'm pretty stoked with how this is gonna go. But there's been a lot of work going in, and but it's work that I like to do. I mean, I really enjoy doing this kind of stuff and rehabbing old buildings and rehabbing old things that have kind of just been not necessarily neglected, but just left, and to bring in some of the new stuff. Like the old electrical in here is just, it's ridiculous that no one ever updated it. They did update the panel to the house, I'm guessing probably 20 years ago, because that does need some work too. I'll be hiring out an electrician to do that, because we're going to be pulling in 200 amps instead of 125, so that panel goes for there, and I'm going to need to have the power company shut off the power and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to end up having an electrician come in to swap that, but I'm going to be putting in the ground and running all the wires and all that stuff ahead of time, so that he can basically just come in, swap the panel, and hook everything up, under his permit and bond. I don't like pulling utility wire myself. Honestly, I'm not a lineman, so I run the risk of being a jackass and electrocuting my arms off or something like that. But we're getting down here to the end of the video, so sorry about me just kind of rambling on here in the morning. But if you want to give us some support, go ahead to darkstararts.com and click through the Amazon banner, and then just go buy whatever you want at Amazon, and we just basically get a small advertising kickback from those guys. All right, later.